The cabin cost me $387,000. 32 years working as an accountant in Denver, tracking other people's money, reconciling their books, filing their taxes. 32 years of fluorescent lights and spreadsheets and clients who called at 7 in the morning because they couldn't find a receipt from 2019. I saved every bonus. I skipped vacations. I drove the same Honda Accord for 17 years. All so I could finally buy this place. It sits at 9,200 feet in the Rocky Mountains, about 40 miles west of Colorado Springs. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, wraparound deck facing east toward the sunrise. The previous owner was a writer who'd inherited it from his parents and never used it. He sold it to me for less than market value because, he said, I reminded him of his father, a man who worked hard and deserved peace. I closed on the property in late August. By mid-September, I'd moved in full-time. My wife, Catherine, passed away 4 years ago. Lung cancer. She never smoked a day in her life. Our daughter, Rachel, was 31 when Catherine died. She took it hard. We both did. But I thought we'd grown closer through the grief. I thought we understood each other. The cabin became my refuge. I'd wake up at 5:30, make coffee, sit on the deck in my fleece jacket, and watch the sky turn from black to purple to orange. I could see Pikes Peak in the distance. The air smelled like pine and cold. I'd spend my days reading, hiking the trails behind the property, learning to identify birds, evening grosbeaks, Steller's jays, mountain chickadees. For the first time in my adult life, I wasn't waiting for a phone to ring or an email to arrive. I'd been there 6 weeks when Rachel called. Dad, hey, how's the cabin? It's perfect, sweetheart. You should come visit. Actually, that's why I'm calling. Her voice had that bright, excited tone, the one she used when she wanted something. Blake and I have some amazing news. Blake was her fiancé. They'd been together 3 years. He worked in pharmaceutical sales, made good money, drove a Lexus, wore expensive cologne. I didn't dislike him, but I didn't particularly enjoy his company either. He called me Pops and slapped my shoulder too hard when he laughed. We set a date, Rachel said. June 14th. And Dad, we found the perfect venue. That's wonderful. Where? Your cabin. I stood up from the deck chair. A Steller's jay took off from the railing, startled. I'm sorry. What? Your cabin. Dad, it's absolutely perfect. We've been looking at venues for months and they're all so expensive and so generic. But your place is stunning. It's intimate. It's meaningful. Mom would have loved it. My chest tightened. Rachel, the cabin isn't really set up for. We've already thought it through. We're thinking 80 to 100 guests. We'd set up chairs on the east side of the property where it's flat, the ceremony right at sunset, so the mountains are in the background. Then dinner on the deck. We'd rent those big tent heaters. Blake's cousin is a caterer. She'd handle the food. And you wouldn't have to do anything, Dad. We'd manage everything. Sweetheart, I appreciate the thought, but we'd pay you, obviously. Like a venue rental fee. Blake was thinking $5,000. That's way less than anywhere else. But it's still good money for you, right? $5,000 to use a property I'd paid $387,000 for. To fill my refuge with 100 strangers. To turn my deck into a dance floor. Rachel, I bought this place to have quiet, to have privacy. I'm not looking to host events. Dad, it's not an event. It's my wedding. I understand that, but do you? Because it kind of seems like you don't. Blake and I have been together for 3 years. You know how hard wedding planning is? How stressful? I thought you'd be happy to help us. I want to help, but this isn't the right way. I could contribute money toward a venue. We could look at other options. We don't want other options. We want your cabin. Our cabin, really. You know, Mom always talked about getting a mountain house. She'd want this. She'd want us to use it. I closed my eyes. The manipulation was so obvious it almost made me laugh. Almost. Your mother isn't here to say what she'd want. And this is my home, Rachel. My decision. I'm saying no. Silence on the other end. Then, wow. Okay. I guess I know where I stand. Rachel, no, it's fine. I get it. Your peace and quiet is more important than your daughter's wedding. I'll tell Blake you said no. He'll be disappointed, but whatever. You do you, Dad." She hung up. I stood on the deck for 20 minutes, watching the light change on Pike's Peak, telling myself I'd made the right decision, knowing Rachel would call back, hoping she'd understand. She didn't call back. Blake did. 3 days later, "Pops, hey, it's Blake. Got a minute? I'm here. Listen, Rachel told me about the conversation. I totally get where you're coming from, man. You worked hard for that place. It's your sanctuary. I respect that." I waited. But here's the thing. Rachel's heartbroken, like genuinely devastated. And I'm thinking maybe there was a miscommunication. Because the way we see it, this is a family celebration. You wouldn't even have to leave. You'd be there. You'd be part of it. And yeah, it's a lot of people for one day. But then we're gone and everything goes back to normal. Blake, I appreciate you calling, but my answer is the same. The cabin isn't suitable for a wedding. See, that's where I think you're wrong. Rachel and I drove up there last weekend. We parked on the road and walked the perimeter. Just to visualize it, you know? And Pops, it's absolutely perfect. The flat area on the east side? That fits 100 chairs easy. The deck can hold 20 tables with the right arrangement. We measured. My stomach dropped. You came to my property without asking? Well, yeah. We didn't want to bother you. We were just looking. And honestly, after seeing it in person, I'm even more convinced this is the right call. So here's what we're thinking. We up the rental fee to $7,000. That's fair market value for a venue this size in Colorado. You get a nice chunk of change, we get our dream wedding, everybody wins. Nobody wins, Blake, because I'm not renting it. Pops, come on. Be reasonable. I am being reasonable. You're asking me to turn my home into a wedding venue. The answer is no. Do you realize how selfish you sound right now? The word hit me like cold water. Excuse me? I'm just saying, man. You're retired. You have time. You have space. Your daughter is asking for one day. One day to celebrate the biggest moment of her life. And you can't give her that? That's pretty cold. Blake, this conversation is over. Fine. But you should know, Rachel's not speaking to you until you change your mind. And honestly, I don't blame her. Think about that. He hung up. I sat down at the kitchen table. My hands were shaking. I'd dealt with difficult clients for 3 decades. I'd negotiated with the IRS. I'd handled audits and disputes and angry business owners. But this felt different. This was my daughter, my son-in-law to be, using guilt and pressure like weapons. I called my brother, Tom. He lived in Phoenix. We talked every Sunday. They did what? He said after I explained. Came to the property. Measured. Planned the whole thing, without my permission. Jesus, David. That's not okay. I know. So what are you going to do? I already told them no. Multiple times. Yeah, but are they listening? That was the question, wasn't it? 2 weeks passed. Rachel didn't call, didn't text, didn't respond when I reached out. I told myself she needed time, that she'd come around, that we'd work it out like adults. Then I got the email. It was from a catering company in Colorado Springs. Subject line, confirmation for Dawson, Patterson wedding, June 14th, 2025. I opened it with my heart in my throat. Dear Mr. Dawson, thank you for choosing Mountain Memories, catering for your daughter's special day. This email confirms your venue at 4782 Pinewood Trail, as discussed with Rachel Dawson and Blake Patterson. Our team will arrive at 10 a.m. on June 14th for setup. Menu selections and final headcount due May 1st. We look forward to serving you. I read it 3 times. Then I called the catering company. Mountain Memories, this is Jenna. Hi Jenna, my name is David Dawson. I just received an email about a wedding at my property. Oh yes, the Dawson-Patterson wedding. It's going to be beautiful. There's been a mistake. I never agreed to host this wedding. Pause. I'm sorry, what? The property at 4782 Pinewood Trail is my private residence. I did not give permission for this event. But Rachel and Blake came in 2 weeks ago. They signed a contract. They put down a deposit. They showed us photos of the property. They don't own the property. I do. And I'm telling you right now, there will be no wedding there. You need to cancel. Sir, we have a signed contract. You have a contract with people who don't have authority to use the venue. I'm the property owner. I'm telling you this event cannot happen. Another pause. I need to talk to my manager. Please do. I hung up and immediately called Rachel. It went to voicemail. Rachel, I just got an email from a catering company. We need to talk. Call me back. She didn't. Blake did. That evening. Pops, I heard you called the caterer. Blake, what the hell are you doing? Having a wedding, man. Look, we waited for you to come around. You didn't. So we made a decision. The wedding is happening. You can either be part of it or not. But it's happening. It absolutely is not. That's my property. You have no right. See, here's where you're wrong. Rachel is your daughter, your only child. That cabin should be hers someday, anyway, right? So really, we're just using future inheritance a little early. I felt my face go hot. Future inheritance? Blake, I could live another 30 years. I could sell the property tomorrow. I could donate it to charity. There is no guarantee. Relax, Pops. I'm just saying, family shares. That's how it works. And you're being really difficult about this for no reason. The reason is, it's my home. It's a building, dude. Stop being so attached. Listen, here's what's going to happen. June 14th, our guests are arriving at 3 p.m. Ceremony at 5. Dinner at 6. Dancing until 10. We'll have the place cleaned up by noon on the 15th. You can stay in your bedroom with the door closed if you want. We don't care. But the wedding is happening. If you show up with guests, I will call the police. For what? Having a family gathering? Good luck with that. Talk to you later, Pops. He hung up. I sat in the dark cabin, listening to the wind in the pines. For the first time since Catherine died, I felt utterly alone. The next morning, I drove to Colorado Springs. I found a real estate attorney named Patricia Alvarez. She had gray hair and sharp eyes and didn't waste time on pleasantries. Tell me everything, she said. I did. She took notes. When I finished, she leaned back in her chair. They're trespassing, misuse of property, potentially fraud if they're taking money from vendors while misrepresenting ownership. But here's the problem. They're family. If you pursue this criminally, it'll destroy your relationship with your daughter. It's already destroyed. Is it? Or is it just damaged? I didn't answer. Here's what I recommend, Patricia said. We file for a temporary restraining order preventing them from accessing the property. We send cease and desist letters to every vendor they've contracted. We make it legally impossible for this wedding to happen at your cabin. It's firm. It's clear. But it's not vindictive. You're just protecting what's yours. How long does a restraining order take? If we file today, we can get a hearing within a week. If the judge grants it, it'll be in effect immediately. Do it. We filed that afternoon. The hearing was scheduled for October 22nd, 6 days away. Rachel found out before I could tell her. She called at 11 p.m., screaming, "You filed a restraining order against me? Your own daughter? Rachel, listen. No, you listen. Do you know how humiliating this is? Blake's family thinks you're insane. Half our guests have asked if everything's okay. I've had to tell people my own father is trying to sabotage my wedding. I'm not sabotaging anything. I'm protecting my property. You're the one who made contracts without permission. Because you wouldn't give permission. You're being unreasonable." Unreasonable? Rachel, you tried to take over my home. It's a cabin. It's not like you live there full time. I do live there full time. It's my home. My only home. Well, congratulations, Dad. You've made your choice. Don't expect an invitation to the wedding. Don't expect to walk me down the aisle. Don't expect to be part of my life. You've chosen a building over your daughter. She hung up. I didn't sleep that night. The hearing went exactly as Patricia predicted. The judge reviewed the evidence, the emails, the vendor contracts, Rachel and Blake's admission that they'd planned the event without my consent. He granted the restraining order, effective immediately. Rachel and Blake were prohibited from coming within 500 feet of my property until June 15th, 2025. Patricia sent copies to every vendor Rachel and Blake had contracted: the caterer, the rental company, the photographer. Each one confirmed they'd cancel their services. I thought it was over. It wasn't. 2 weeks later, I was hiking behind the cabin when I saw fresh tire tracks on the access road. Heavy tracks, like a truck or van. I followed them to the east side of the property. Someone had dropped off equipment: stacks of white folding chairs, 3 large tents still in bags, a portable generator, extension cords, boxes labeled lighting and sound system. There was a note duct taped to one of the chairs. Dad, we're doing this with or without you. The restraining order expires June 15th. The wedding is June 14th. Do the math. See you there. Rachel. My hands shook as I read it. They were calling my bluff, banking on the idea that I wouldn't actually call the police on my own daughter, that I'd cave at the last minute. That blood was thicker than legal documents. I called Patricia. They're escalating, she said. This is good, actually. It gives us more evidence. Take photos of everything. Don't touch anything. Let them keep digging. What if they actually show up with guests? Then we'll have law enforcement ready. David, I know this is hard, but you have to see this through. If you back down now, they'll know they can do this to you again. And again. And again. I took photos. I documented everything. And then I made a decision. I called a security company in Colorado Springs. I hired 2 guards for June 14th, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Their job was simple: turn away anyone who wasn't me. I also called a lawyer friend of Tom's, a guy who specialized in property law. He drafted a letter to Rachel and Blake, outlining the potential criminal charges they could face: trespassing, theft of services, fraud. It wasn't a threat. It was a statement of fact. I had it delivered to their apartment on May 30th. Rachel called me the next day. She wasn't screaming this time. She sounded tired. Dad, please, just let us have this. Rachel, I can't. Why not? Give me one good reason. Because you didn't ask. You demanded. You manipulated. You ignored every boundary I set. If you'd come to me with respect, if you'd listened when I said no, if you'd tried to understand my perspective, maybe we could have found a compromise. But you didn't. You tried to take what you wanted by force, and I can't reward that. So this is about teaching me a lesson? No. This is about protecting myself. From you. Silence. I don't even know who you are anymore, she said quietly. I could say the same thing. She hung up. June 14th arrived. The security guards showed up at 6:45 a.m. 2 large men in black jackets. I gave them coffee and explained the situation. We've seen worse, one of them said. Don't worry, nobody gets past us. I stayed inside, made breakfast, read a book, tried not to think about what was supposed to be happening. At 2:47 p.m., I heard vehicles on the access road. I watched from the window. 3 cars, Rachel's Subaru, Blake's Lexus, a van I didn't recognize. The security guards met them at the gate I'd had installed 2 weeks earlier. I couldn't hear the conversation, but I saw Blake gesturing, Rachel crying, one of the guards shaking his head. It lasted 10 minutes. Then they left. At 4:30, more vehicles arrived. Guests, presumably. The guards turned them away too, one by one. Some argued, some took photos. All of them left. By 6 p.m., it was quiet. By 7, the guards confirmed no one else had come. By 8, they packed up and left. I stood on the deck, watching the sunset over Pikes Peak. The mountains were purple and orange and deep blue. The air smelled like pine. A mountain chickadee called from somewhere in the trees. My phone buzzed. A text from Tom. How'd it go? They came. They left. It's over. How do you feel? I thought about that. Really thought about it. Sad. But right. Good. That means you did the right thing for the wrong reasons. What? You're sad because it's your daughter, but you're certain because you protected yourself. That's the sign of a healthy boundary. I sat down in my deck chair, watched the last light fade from the sky. 3 days later, I got an email from Rachel. Dad, the wedding happened at a community center in Colorado Springs. It was fine. Not what we wanted, but fine. Blake's parents paid for it. I'm not speaking to you right now, maybe not for a long time, but I want you to know something. I talked to Mom's sister, Aunt Linda. I told her what happened. She said Mom would have been furious with me. She said Mom always talked about how hard you worked, how much you sacrificed, how you deserved to enjoy your retirement without people making demands. She said I acted like a spoiled brat. I don't know if I agree with her, but I'm thinking about it. Rachel. I read it 5 times. Then I wrote back, Rachel, I'm glad the wedding happened. I'm glad you're married. I'm sorry it wasn't what you wanted, but I couldn't give you something that would have destroyed my peace. If you want to talk someday, really talk, I'm here. I love you. I always will. But I won't apologize for protecting my home. Dad. She didn't respond. 2 months passed. Then, in late August, my phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Dad? It's me, Rachel. Hi, sweetheart. Can I come visit? Just for an afternoon. I want to see the cabin. Actually see it. Not measure it for chairs. Just see it. I felt something loosen in my chest. Yes, you can come visit. She came the following Saturday, drove up alone. Blake stayed home. I gave her the tour, showed her the trails, the spot where I'd seen a black bear, the view from the deck. She didn't say much, just looked. Finally, sitting on the deck with coffee, she spoke. It really is beautiful. It is. I didn't see that before. I just saw a venue, a backdrop. I know. I'm sorry, Dad. For all of it. The manipulation, the guilt trips, the trying to force you. Blake and I were so focused on what we wanted, we didn't think about what it would cost you. Thank you for saying that. Are you happy here? I looked out at the mountains, the pine trees, the endless sky. Yes. Very happy. Then I'm glad you said no. We sat in silence for a while. Not uncomfortable, just quiet. Before she left, she hugged me. Really hugged me. I love you, Dad. I love you too, sweetheart. I watched her drive away. Watched until her car disappeared around the bend. Then I went back to the deck, made another cup of coffee, opened my book. A Stellar's J landed on the railing, blue and loud and alive. I smiled. This was mine, my refuge, my peace, and I'd protected it, not because I didn't love my daughter, but because I loved myself enough to say no.